What's going on YouTube? It is Repulse back in another video. In today's video we have another Chelsea news video. I didn't post one yesterday, there wasn't that much to talk about, but everything that's accumulated throughout yesterday and today is definitely enough to make a video out of. So yeah, we're back with Chelsea news. Sorry for not uploading yesterday, but there's a little bit to get into today, so I'd just say, we just start out stuff on potential outgoings, potential incomings. We know Xavi Simons was linked, we know Garnacho's been linked. Not much on Morgan Rogers' front, but a lot in terms of the outgoings. So, let's just get into it, starting with our striker from last season, Nicholas Jackson. He spoke to Manchester United, apparently, but also we have informed Man United on the conditions of the deal for Nicholas Jackson. United are still discussing their striker target internally, and sales would be important. Chelsea are not desperate to sign the striker. So basically what's happening here is that, Man United have just signed Brian Mbeumo. They've signed Mateus Cunha, which I think equates to like 135 million pounds. They're signing a goalkeeper from Standard Liège, I think. And then, if they believe that they do need a striker, they may come in for Nicholas Jackson, but at the same time, you can't pay 150 million in a window, finishing 15th in the league, not making Champions League football. Obviously made the final of the Europa League last season, but didn't do anything with that, didn't win the trophy. So no Europe next season, finished 15th in the league. They're not in the greatest financial position. So obviously when Chelsea are asking for 100 million for Nicholas Jackson, they're probably a little taken back by it, because, they need to understand if they have the money to pay for it, if they're going to breach PSR by doing it, what can really happen doing that. Obviously they can use the sale of hotels and the women's team and all that if they really need to. They're not in Europe, so it doesn't go against UEFA's rules. But yeah, we have informed Man United on the conditions for the deal of Nicholas Jackson. I do kind of expect them to come in. I don't expect him to cost the whole 100 million pound mark that we're really asking for. I think we might end up leaving, or might end up parting ways with him for 70. And then, that unnamed player that I hate in Alejandro Garnacho might come the other way, because those links just seem to never die down. But we're not desperate to sell the striker, just basically means he's not part of our bomb squad. If a good enough offer comes in, yes, he'll leave. He's not just gonna leave to leave. If someone doesn't give a good enough offer for Nicholas Jackson, then he's gonna stay and be a pivotal part of the squad for next season. But if someone does, then I do expect him to leave rather than stay. But yeah, that's that on Jackson to Man United. There's more that Nassar Kinsella said, that Manchester United have held talks with Nicholas Jackson's representatives. Ali Barat, who is also Xavi Simons' agent, he is also Moises Caicedo's agent, and that's how we got the deal done with Brighton. Ali Barat negotiated the deal with Bedat Igbali, obviously Chelsea owner, and that's how we got Caicedo through the door. And that is Nicholas Jackson's agent, Ali Barat, over a potential move. Worth noting that Chelsea have an interest in Garnacho. The interest is basically saying there might be a swap deal that happens here. If Man United feel they can't do it financially, then Garnacho may come this way and Jackson may come the other way. But that only sounds if we were desperate to sell, and Garnacho is someone we want to get through the door. Obviously we do have an interest in Garnacho, so maybe the swap deal is justified if that does end up happening. But the only way the swap deal happens is if we're set on Garnacho being a guy that we do actually want to bring in, because at the same time we're not desperate to sell, so we're not just gonna pay a hefty fee and then get a hefty fee for someone that we're not actively looking to sell. But if we get a good enough bid, then Jackson could leave. But yeah, Man United have held talks with the agents of Nicholas Jackson, so maybe they're trying to agree personal terms or something like that, see if Jackson's open to the move or not. But there may be a swap deal in there with Alejandro Garnacho, which I don't like to see, but at the same time, Garnacho plays for Man United, so you never really know how good of a player he truly is. But yeah, that's that on Nicholas Jackson. Time to talk about the potential outgoings. This was just dropped. Saudi Arabia side Neom SC are interested in signing Axel Sassy. Apparently Newcastle are in for Axel Sassy as well, which surprised me a little bit. But yeah, I think Axel Sassy more than likely goes to Saudi Arabia, as well as Joao Felix. I know Joao Felix wanted to go back to Benfica, but this Neom SC side are also interested in signing Joao Felix, so maybe they come in for both, try to do a double deal. But if Axel Sassy is able to leave the club, then I'll be pretty pleased with that. If we get around what we paid for him in 35 million pounds, then I'll be ecstatic with it. It looks so good on the books because he was here for a total of 2 seasons, so obviously, that's split in half, and then obviously wiped out because someone would take out his contract, so the amortization would be done. And Exodus Essie may be packing his bags sometime soon, maybe to Saudi Arabia, maybe to somewhere else in England or throughout Europe. But just hopefully we can get the fee that we were asking for him, which I think is around 35 million pounds, because I think we just want to make our money back on him, which would look like a massive profit on the books. But yeah, that's that on Exodus Essie. All right, my recording randomly paused, so I don't know where it ended off, but yeah, this is the slide right after. It's talking about Alfie Gilchrist saying that multiple championship clubs are interested. Teams from Saudi Arabia are also interested, said Men Jacobs. We talked about that in the last video, and it says that we are looking for 5 million. There's an exclusive that dropped as well that said that we Middlesbrough, Blackburn, and I think it's Sheffield United or Coventry are the ones looking at bringing in Alfie Gilchrist permanently. Obviously, only has 1 year left on his deal, so may just run down his contract so those teams don't have to pay a hefty fee. But then again, 5 million pounds is nothing substantial, and it goes as pure profit on the books, so that's just 5 million extra to work with. So yeah, we could see Alfie Gilchrist out the door momentarily. Obviously, I expect a championship team to come in for Alfie Gilchrist, or if not, a Saudi Arabian team to come in for a much higher fee than just 5 million pounds. In terms of actual outgoings, with Renato Veiga being on the short list for Atletico Madrid, apparently our valuation was 30 to 35 million euros. But then Fabrizio followed this up with Renato Veiga still expected to leave Chelsea this summer, with the permanent move anticipated since June. Atletico Madrid, Bayern, and Premier League clubs all in the race to sign Veiga. I understand Chelsea want package over 40 million euros for Veiga, while talks with clubs continue. Yeah, this is just outstanding business by Chelsea. I think Veiga kind of knew what he was doing coming here. If he knew he wasn't going to start, obviously he's a really good player, really tidy player, Portugal international. Played a couple games for us last season before he went on a loan to Juve, but he's not going to play in his preferred position of left center half. But he came to the club for 12 million euros or 12 million pounds, either or. Maybe 15 million euros, 12 million pounds, and we are getting around like 35 million pounds for him. So obviously it looks like great business on our end. We're getting 6 times the amount or not, sorry, 3 times the amount we paid for the player, after just 1 season of having him. Loaning him out to Juve. Obviously he has loads of potential, so not someone I particularly wanted to see go. I do think he's a great player and all, but at the same time, have to understand that he's been pushing for the move. He pushed for the move to Juve. He's probably pushing for a move out, just because we can't guarantee him the game time he wants. So likely to leave, but apparently it is a 40 million euro package, not 30 to 35 million euros, which is a substantial fee for someone that barely even played for us last season. Yes, played at Juventus. Yes, played a little bit for us when he was here, but seems like he's now out the door. And Atletico Madrid and Bayern are the 2 international clubs that are out for Renato Veiga. And that was confirmed today, actually, 5 hours ago, saying that Atletico Madrid have now made direct contact with Renato Veiga's camp, and the player is keen on the move, which is good for us, good for them. It just seems like the negotiation is going to go swiftly between Chelsea and Atletico Madrid. We know that we have good business ties. Sent Conor Gallagher there, got João Felix back, which should have been Samuel Omarodion, but he went off to Porto instead because he failed his medical. But we got João Felix back the other way just because we had to do them a little favor for taking Conor Gallagher off our hands. Obviously, Azpilicueta went there, and it seems like Renato Veiga may be the next person to go to Atletico Madrid. And we insist on a package of at least worth at least 40 million euros to sell Veiga, while Atleti are prepared to advance in negotiations. So it seems like something that could be a swift deal. It seems like within the coming days we could see Renato Veiga going off to Atletico Madrid. Could be 40 million, could be 45 million euros, could be 40 million pounds that we're asking for in actuality, and that's why it says at least 40 million euros. So could be 35 plus 5, 35 plus 10, something like that. Just something where Chelsea are content with, okay, we made such a big profit on this player, might as well just send him out for this fee. Um, but yeah, it seems like Renato Veiga is more than moving to Atletico Madrid. I thought he was going to go to Bayern Munich, to be honest. They're the ones with long-standing interest, just never really made a move. He was on their short list, but nothing really concrete happened after that. So it seems like Vega is actually going to go off to Atletico Madrid, keen on the move, and now negotiating for personal terms with Atletico Madrid. And Atletico Madrid are prepared to advance negotiations with Chelsea, which is exciting. Definitely means that more money is going to come into the club, make the net spend look a little bit better, and then allow us to go out and sign new players, like potentially Alejandro Garnacho, who Fabrizio said that Chelsea are still showing appreciation for him. Only reason this is here, I know it's not really much news. It was on his YouTube video. That's why the quote's a little weird. Is that the links just never seem to die down. So I feel like the club are trying to just anticipate bringing him in, and get the fan base ready for him to come in. I know not many people want him in. I don't want him in either, but we're still showing appreciation. The links are just circling day by day, coming back, circulating around everyone's feed. Alejandro Garnacho is just a name that hasn't died down all quite yet. Little annoying. I don't think many people want him to come to the club, but you know, if he does, he does. We all just kind of got to back him. Be a little arm around his shoulder to see if he can progress, but definitely not someone I want to come through the door. But we're still showing an appreciation for him. However, this is the guy that I want us to sign next. Yeah, it's time. Fabrizio said yesterday on his first or second YouTube video of the day, excuse me, it's time for Chelsea now to focus on some outgoings. For example, Renato Vega has interest from Bayern and other clubs, which was revealed to be Atletico Madrid today, or well, I guess last night, but followed up today. Um, Chelsea really like Xavi Simons, but focus on outgoings at the moment. Basically saying we're only going in for Simons if we can get players out the door. Renato Vega might be one of them. Gilchrist might be another. Axel Disasi might be another. And then we have the entire bomb squad to get through, as well as Nicholas Jackson potentially. But we really like Xavi Simons. Obviously haven't started talks with his agents or anything like that. So nothing in that regard, but we do appreciate the player internally. We do have discussions about the player, whether or not to go in for him, and I do expect us to go in for him. But I think what the club is saying is we'll go in for him once we raise enough money. And I think Renato Vega is a great step in that direction, raising 40 million for him when you know Leipzig are asking for 65 plus add-ons, so 25 plus some add-ons after leaving Vega means that you pretty much get Xavi Simons through the door. Especially if you let go of Axel Disasi, that might just entirely cover the Xavi Simons fee. So yeah, I can understand why we're focusing on outgoings. We have an entire bomb squad that we need to get through. So hopefully there's some movements on those players' sides, like Joao Felix, right? Like Vega, like Disasi, like Ben Chilwell, like Raheem Sterling, who I don't know if he goes or not, but I hope he does. For any fee at this point, just try to get those wages off the books, and that frees up a lot of capital for us. We're paying him 325 million or 325,000 pounds a week, which is substantial for a player that's not even playing for us. So I do hope Raheem Sterling does just go out the door, and it would definitely open up corridors for us to go in for Xavi Simons and try to bring him to Chelsea. Obviously, we're rivaling Arsenal for his signature. I guess both clubs are just interested. No one has really spoken to his camps, but both really need to focus on outgoings at the time. Arsenal have already spent a heap of money about it being in Gyökeres as well. Trying for Eze and really haven't sold. We know Arsenal's not the best selling club, so I don't really think they bring Xavi Simons to the club. So, if Eze comes in, if Gyökeres comes in, then I don't expect Arsenal to go in for Xavi Simons, and I expect Chelsea to really have a clear road of obtaining his signature. And yeah, I think that might be everything. Yeah, that is everything. So if you did enjoy this video, I know it's a short and sweet news video. There was not much that's come the last 2 days, so maybe there's a lot today. Obviously, it's a Sunday, so I don't expect it. Usually there's not much news on the weekend, but yeah, not much news the last 2 days or so. So, short, sweet video. But if you did enjoy, please be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, it's Repulse, and I'm out. Peace.